It's been about a week now since I escaped, and since I filed that police report. I think I can finally put this whole experience to paper. I'm not quite sure if I'll post this online, but if I do, now you know. I'm a student who just graduated college, and am in the process of working towards earning my master's in psychology, and was out one night celebrating my birthday with some friends. We went out for some drinks and then decided to hit the club scene. As I searched around the crowds for a girl to dance with, I came across someone who was a total catch. From her head, to her chest, to her waist, to her hips, she was a total hottie. But she seemed to have a quirk to her. Something exciting shone through her eyes. I knew I had to approach her. She was sweet on the surface, had a pleasant smile that beckoned company, but still flirty enough to play coy and toy with a man's emotions. I decided to act like I was having a hard time and just looking for fun. Had a rough night tonight. These places are so freeing, you know. She giggled at the thought of me mentioning wanting to free myself around her.
Free yourself? In what way? Do you want to let yourself go around me? I don't know if you could keep up.
I took her response as an open invitation to dance and played it up well. I want to let loose tonight, don't you?
I don't really know. You seem too uptight to me.
She grabbed me by my collar softly and playfully pulled me closer to her, just close enough to smell her perfume, before she softly pushed me back and giggled.
Don't let me lose you tonight. And remember to laugh a little.
I gave a light chuckle at that comment. She had already managed to break through every attempt I had planned from flirting with her, and was the one telling me to come dance with her. So, I did just that. We danced a lot of the night away at the club, and I followed her from club to club as they began to shut down. When I thought the night was nearly over, she pulled me aside and invited me back to her place.
What? You thought the night was over? Come on, let's go back to my place and have some fun.
She took me by the hand, laughing the whole way back to her apartment, and invited me inside. I walked past her living room and made my way straight with her to her bedroom. It was surprisingly large, and she had a large king-size bed in the middle of it. As I looked towards the bathroom, she tossed her bra and panties straight into my face. The fabric was see-through, though, and I got to see her gorgeous form. She was a beauty. I inhaled her scent from the fabric in a knee-jerk reaction, but noticed a slightly chemical aroma reeking from the fabric. It immediately caused me to collapse back on the bed, and within seconds, I was out. The next thing I knew, I was awake, tied up with my arms and torso suspended inside of an empty barn. Next to me were 3 other guys, tied up in a similar fashion to me. Each of them were gagged. I'm a smart individual, and even in my state of delirium and loss of senses, I was able to figure out that whoever this girl was had planned everything and completely intended to kidnap me. As I tried to tug and break free from my bonds, I saw her walk in. Only this time, she was dressed from head to toe in the clothing and makeup of a clown. She came walking in with a rusted spoon in one hand and a bowl in another.
Naughty boys don't get fresh guacamole. They get slapped.
From behind a hay barrel, she pulled out a long wooden paddle and slammed it straight into my side, my body wincing as the full impact of the board on my ribs caused me to grow misty-eyed from the pain.
Now, I'm gonna put on a show, and you're gonna laugh for Jiggles. Okay?
She moved to remove the gags from the other guys next to me.
You will too. You're all gonna laugh for Jiggles, even if I have to drag it out of you.
She then went behind a stack of hay barrels and pulled out nothing short of a private circus routine. Part of what crept me out the most was the fact that the act itself was actually quite funny and made us laugh, but for her, our laughter wasn't enough. We were so scared, so most of us couldn't utter out more than just a few chuckles. so she decided to continue on with her routine, with other strange behaviors. One of the strangest behaviors of all that she exhibited, though, was a strange addiction with mashed avocados. She continued to use a rusted spoon and fed her captives mashed avocados with it until they were in tears. Such strange behavior could only come from someone who had truly lost their mind or had a strange obsession with superfood. Seeing as how she obsessed with making men laugh, I assumed the obsession sprouted from the same source. One of the guys couldn't take it anymore and spat out the mashed avocados. In her rage and disgust, Jiggles reached down the guy's throat and started stabbing him in the throat with the edge of the spoon.
Why don't you ever laugh? I do all of this to make you laugh. Laugh for me.
After several dozens of stabs, his body went limp as his tongue fell out of his mouth and blood poured out.
Oh, you can't laugh anymore. Oh well, time to put you with the rest.
She cut the rope suspending the body of the guy she just murdered and dragged him outside of the barn. The sound of matches being lit was soon heard, and a large fire started outside of the barn. Jiggles returned back inside of the barn and moved over to the next captive she had. This guy was tired of her by now and wanted to make sure she knew it. "I'm done laughing. Let me go, you fucking crazy bitch."
Oh, if you're done laughing, then you won't need this.
She pulled out a knife from her sock and started laying heavy gashes into the throat of the next guy, and pulled out his esophagus by hand, removing his tongue as well in the process.
Time to put you with the rest.
Just like the first guy, she cut his bonds, dragged the body, and placed the body in the fire. The last guy next to me started to reach for the blade that she had left in the barnyard floor and managed to grab it with his feet. I reached over to help him lift it up, and I cut his bonds with my tied hands. He went to work freeing up my hands, and we both started to run out as Jiggles came back into the barn. We split up and went for different exits. I left towards the far end of the barn and managed to escape her property down a dirt road. I could hear the screams in the distance as I ran from the barn. The last guy, having been found by her and slamming her paddle into his head. He went silent after the first few smacks. I was lucky. Almost too lucky. I escaped to a nearby town and managed to call police, but by the time they arrived, she was already gone. A week later, they claimed to have found her and showed me a profile pic of the suspect, but I could immediately tell it wasn't her. Not only were the body dimensions different, but her eyes. The way she stared at men was different. This wasn't the same girl that kidnapped me, and she was still out there. I just knew it. The reason I'm putting this story to paper, and likely going to be putting it out online, is because I know she's pursuing me. I can hear her at night, outside of my apartment in the distance, laughing and chanting my name, saying how she'll find me and get the last laugh out of me. If you ever run into this girl, run. Don't dance with her in clubs, don't follow her home, and never fall asleep around her. You might just end up in her rural torture trap as she forces out your last laugh.